because they don't get it. So, anyways, but then the whole audience is going to be white and they're going to be singing along. And some of those lines are talking bad about white people. And I don't even think they realize. Specifically, like MLK Day and the liberals and the tokenism. And he had a black guy because Jimmy Dore is smart enough to know that he has to be careful on these topics, being that he's not a black guy. So he got a black guy to give the opinion that he,
Happy Mark
already has, but which is smarter than just saying it, because with identity politics and with the wokeism, with the canceling, how they're canceling people, you got to be careful on these topics based on your identity. It shouldn't be that way, because the truth is the truth. Whoever freaking mouth is coming out of doesn't matter.
Martin Luther King Day, everybody. How are you? I hope you're enjoying. This is a holiday sponsored by the government that killed the guy who the holiday's for. Mm-hmm. Isn't that funny?
That's fun.
That's fun. We're here with Nick Cruz is with us. He's a social critic, journalist, and commentator. He's also the co-host of the Revolutionary Blackout Network. Please welcome Nick Cruz. Hey, Nick.
What's poppin', my friends, my family? I'm glad you invited me on today, because I like this MLK stuff that comes from the warmongering liberals. It drives me crazy. You got Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe, one of the most anti-black politicians in the modern era, tweeting about MLK. This day always drive me crazy, Jimmy. So it always does.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, how does a black guy actually feel about all the bullshit that the establishment says about Martin Luther King, the same establishment that betrayed him, killed him, and turned on him when he decided to talk against the Vietnam War? So when he became an anti-war spokesperson, that's when the Democrats turned on. Everybody turned on him, right?
Yeah, and it drives me crazy. I had to log off. I can't stand the virtue signaling that comes from liberals and Democrats. Jim Crow Joe, the Democratic Party, you have people who support sending weapons to Nazis in Ukraine, eulogizing MLK when he stood against militarism, anything you guys are against. So what we do at RBN and Revolutionary Blackout, we try to take.
I apologize for the delay. I don't know what's going on. I tried to close some windows. I don't know what's happening. Even my phone a minute ago was acting kind of funny. So maybe it's my Wi-Fi, but it's showing my signal is good. I have no idea what's going on. But anyways, what did he just say? Damn it, what did he just say? Because I wanted to comment on that. I forgot now. Freaking, what was it? Damn it, y'all. I apologize, because I'll be thinking about I do a lot of things at one time while I'm doing this show. I don't have an assistant. I don't have anybody to help me. So I'm doing a bunch of stuff at the same time while I'm talking. That's the reason why it's a lot better when I have somebody else here, because whenever they're talking, then I have time to do my other stuff. I want to reboot, but I don't have anybody in here, so that's going to mess it up. MLK Day. What did he say? He said MLK. He said he hates MLK Day. He said it drives him crazy, and it's the liberals and it's the tokenism. Fuck! I forgot what the point I was going to make. Let me read some comments. General Reek says, "Oh yeah, it's not your fault. It's just Facebook." Well, I don't broadcast. Facebook is just one of the destinations I'm going to. I use StreamYard as the host that sends all of this out.
Crow Joe, the Democratic Party, you have people who support sending weapons.
Oh, that's what it was. They killed Martin Luther King. I mentioned that before in the other show. It's like all of these statues and stuff, like they love MLK now after he's dead. It's like the establishment killed him. Like, y'all, if y'all don't know, look it up. I mean, a lot of the information has come out about the collaborators related to how MLK was killed. Okay. So basically the establishment killed Martin Luther King. And now the establishment is like, oh, put up MLK statues, and they want to go back to that have a green dream speech. But MLK was growing and evolving in his life, and the I have a dream speech doesn't cover him completely, and he had moved on from a lot of that stuff when it came by the time he died, and he was talking about economics. You know what I'm saying? He was talking about structural change. He was talking about the banks and so forth and so on. He was talking about the Vietnam War and so forth and so on. And they couldn't have that. You have got to go. So they got him up out of here, and now they're all like, "Oh, MLK, he was such a great person. If he was so great, why the hell did y'all kill him?"
To Nazis in Ukraine eulogizing MLK when he stood against militarism, anything you guys are against. So what we do at RBN and Revolutionary Blackout, we try to take our politics back to where our revolutionary leaders was. The people who were anti-capitalist, the socialists, the Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton, MLK, Malcolm X. These people was not Western chauvinists. They did not cheer for war. MLK was hated by the vast majority of white America because he spoke out against the Vietnam War. Meanwhile, we now governed by Black Congressional Caucus, who all for war against China, all for arming Nazis in Ukraine. MLK be rolling in his grave if you look at the Black leaders that we have right now. I implore the people in my community. I'm trying my best. Let's abandon this scourge of neoliberalism. That's what I wrote about in my first op-ed in my Substack. We need to reject the Barack Obamas, reject the Hakeem Jeffries, and embrace our revolutionary roots. Reject the neoliberalism that we are faced with now.
Well, you would think that America electing a black man president twice would be the culmination of Martin Luther King's dream. It was not.
Absolutely
it was not. It was that was kabuki theater, because Barack Obama did not represent. Well, I don't know if I can say this because I'm white, but he didn't help out the Black community. Blacks got poor under him.
That's why I'm loud. That's why I'm loud about it, because if you or anyone, I've seen it. Like whenever the white allies and comrades call out Barack Obama and Jim Clyburn, they call it racist. So the liberal mind, they can't handle it when Revolutionary Blackout, young Black people are calling out Barack Obama, which you see more of. Barack Obama was a great win for the establishment in the short term, but I think he's going to be a long-term menace because he radicalized and turned a lot of young Black people against the system. Like in polls, it showed that Black Americans have the highest anti-capitalist sentiment, and I think that's because of people like Barack Obama who betrayed us.
And man, he said a whole mouthful right there, because I voted for Barack Obama both times. I got sold the dream. He's a great speaker. He would bring tears to my eyes when he spoke. He said all the right things. But then what happened? What did he actually do? What actually changed? What did he accomplish? He looked out for Wall Street. He looked out for the banks. He looked out for the wealthy elite. He didn't do those things that you thought that he was going to do. Like, just the appearance of a Black man in the presidency is not freaking enough. Like, what did that actually do for Black people? And, to the point where I haven't voted in a presidential election since Barack Obama. Oh my God. I'm just now, that's dawning on me right now as I say it. I haven't. So that's Barack Obama did that, because I'm not finna go for the wolf ticket anymore. I'm not finna just like, okay, it's a Black guy and then he's talking really nice, so now I'm gonna vote for him. No, not anymore. And now I'm so more into anarchism, anarchy. I'm so into grassroots. I'm so into changing this stuff from the structural change from the bottom. Voting is not going to get it done, and Barack Obama is the one who made me realize that that's the case. Like, it's hopeless. Really, it's really a pacifier that they give you for voting. You get this pacifier, and you can suck on this pacifier, and it calms you down a bit. And then, and it's like, maybe they'll make some change, maybe some things will change because of my vote and me voting for this guy or whatever, like incremental changes on the margins to hopefully move us forward in a direction. But that's all the way full of on bullshit, you know, you can't do incremental change. You can't do changes in the margins and expect things to get better, because they're not. Meanwhile, the status quo continues. Meanwhile, things continue the same as they were. And this guy's finna say right here, you know, things actually got worse. Things actually got worse. And not just for black people.
MLK will not be happy with the current state of things. We elected the first black president, and he's responsible for destroying black wealth. Him and Eric Holder, the first black attorney general. Racial income inequality right now is worse than it was in the height of the 1960s because of the first black president. How crazy is that?
Well, he was not he might have, his skin color, definitely, he was African American, but he definitely did not, he represented the establishment. That's who he represented.
Yeah, and I think,
and that's crazy. The whole idea of him being black American, I don't even know if he really fits that properly, because I hate the black American hyphenated thing anyways. Like, that's crazy as hell. Like, black American, who else do they, what other group do they give those kind of titles to anyways? But Barack Obama, you know, he was born in Hawaii. You know, he's barely American. His dad is African, you know, and he's mixed. His mom's a white. So, like, what side are you on, bro? Are you really looking out for the black people that was born in the United States? Like, I don't know that he ever had any real alignment with. You need to have some black dude from the South, you know what I'm saying, that came up in the hood, that came out of the projects or something, and made something out of himself. And I think that person is more likely to represent the community than some guy who was born in Hawaii, military family. His wife was friends with the Bushes, and you know, look at his lineage on his mom's side. You know, I don't think that these people really. I don't think that Barack Obama ever was aligned with the average person, and not even just black people, the average American. I don't think so. And this happens a lot. And it's like Trevor Noah is another example of that. Like, I like Trevor Noah with some of the stuff that he would say on the Daily Show or whatever, but he was born in South Africa. You know what I'm saying? Does he really understand the struggle of us regular black people in America? You know, I'm sure he studied a lot. He's a really smart guy, but did he go through the struggle? Did he actually feel it? Does he actually, you know, align himself with these people who went through this struggle here in the United States? You know, the things that we went through, that we continue to go through daily. I don't think that he could possibly feel it, because he didn't. It's not him. You know what I'm saying? So Barack Obama is like having Trevor Noah as the president, because that's not somebody who, they appear to represent us and they say the right things and they're really smart, but do they really align with us? And then when I say us, I'm not always just talking about black people, because y'all got to understand it's a class system that goes on right here. You have more in common with your white neighbor, that working class neighbor, than you do with the, you know, bourgeoisie black folks. Them bourgeoisie black folks don't see you as their people or whatever. They don't, not at all. But like, you know, like Eminem, the rapper, you know, he went through it. And so like the rap community don't really like to give Eminem his props. I like to say he's the greatest rapper of all time, but a lot of people will push against me on that simply because he's white. But then if you look at his culture and what he actually went through, how he grew up, you know what I'm saying? He went through the struggle. He really does understand. That's the reason why we can relate with the stuff that he says in the black community. And then he had to be the best. Because he was white, the hip hop community didn't want to embrace him, you know, so he had to blow everybody out the water just to have the slightest bit of a chance. And that's the reason why I feel like he's the greatest of all time, because he has to prove himself again and again and again and again, even to this day.
It's important for us to call those people out, because the establishment learned a new trick where they have the Kareem James Pierre, the Lloyd Austin, and they have black people. They put them in a position of power, and they are neocons. So, Jamie, I see what you're saying, but I don't separate that blackness, because it's a long-standing tradition of black people selling us out, selling out the global working class in order to climb this imperial capitalist system. So it's something that we have to acknowledge. It's not new. That was the slave traders when we had black people portrayed us back then. That the Uncle Ruckuses, that's the black slave the house hand. They used to portray the field Negroes. They was more loyal to the master than us. These are long. It's not new. W.B. Du Bois wrote about this. The long-standing tradition of these black people selling us out. So, and the liberals learned from that. So now they got all the black faces in high places now. And then they're like, oh look, we got Ketanji Brown Jackson. So we should be excited about the state of the black community because of that. And the RBN, we see through that, and we call it the material, and we call out Jim Crow Joe in the Democratic Party for being as responsible for the damage in the black community as anyone else. Period. More Donald Trump wish he could do the kind of damage people like Joe Biden has done.
There's nobody more responsible for Donald Trump becoming president than Barack Obama. Barack Obama. And if you talk to any black and brown people in the cities that Hillary Clinton lost in Wisconsin, Michigan, they'll tell you that we voted for Barack Obama twice and our lives got worse. Everybody thought just voting in a black man, everything was going to get better. It didn't. It got worse because Barack Obama doesn't represent black America. Barack Obama represents Wall Street and the military industrial complex, health insurance companies. And
a lot of people voted for Trump out of spite. They were angry at the establishment. They screwed over Bernie Sanders, who was the guy, that a lot of them wanted on the left. And, they voted for Trump out of spite. They were angry. They wanted to throw a bomb, in the system. They wanted to show that just because y'all say that we have to vote for this guy, like you have to vote. If you don't vote for Biden, you ain't black. Well, F you, I'm going to vote for Trump. I don't give a damn. You can't tell me who the hell I need to vote for or whatever. And then common sense is like, boom, I don't see what y'all have done to help us. So let's go with this guy. Maybe he'll actually do something. Like he was viewed as an outsider, outside of the establishment. They don't trust the establishment. So it's like, screw y'all. We're going to vote for this guy. We don't even care if he does anything for us. We want y'all to hurt because y'all hurt us. And y'all made us think that y'all were looking out for us and y'all wasn't. Y'all just gave us this damn identity politics stuff, this tokenism bullshit.
Big pharma and fossil fuels. He bragged that they had more oil drilling in the United States. They produced more barrels of oil under his presidency than any other president. He bragged about this stuff. So this guy Barack Obama wasn't a lefty. He wasn't a champion of African Americans. He was the fake face of the champion of America. He was actually the champion of corporate America, which is why we got Donald Trump, because those same black people who voted for him twice and white people who voted for him twice wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton. They wouldn't do it because they did it for him twice and they got stabbed in the front. So you would say that Martin Luther King Day reminds you of all this betrayal, and would you say it pisses you off instead of it being a joy?
Yeah, that's why I have a.
And that's the reason why, like I say, I didn't vote for Trump. So don't get me confused. But I just said a few minutes ago, but Obama was the last president I voted for. They was like, you got to choose between Trump and Hillary. And I was like, F you, I'm not voting for either one of them, and I think that it's a large amount, that in other countries, the percentage of the population that votes in the elections are way, way, way higher than here in the United States. I want to say the number is like 20% of eligible voters actually vote in the presidential elections or the elections here in the United States. So then our whole thing is represented by only 20% of the population. A huge chunk of us just feel like, what's the point? And I'm heavily into politics. That's what I do. I do a political show. I'm heavily into politics. And I'm not telling people not to vote because local stuff does matter. You should vote in your local elections and you should vote for your local officials or whatever. But who's the president a lot of times doesn't really matter. And what I be saying all the time is like, over politics, it's the corporations. Your job has way more power over you and what happens to you than who is president. Your job determines how much money you make, what days you have off, if you get health care or not, what kind of benefits you have, what kind of life you live, what's your work-life balance. And then your job is not democratic at all. It's not democratic at all. You have no say in nothing. Okay. And that's what the state that we actually live in is, more of a totalitarian state, a top-down classist system where, the bosses tell you what the hell, and that's really what's it. And you can't say nothing back to them. You can't check them when they're wrong. And a lot of times they are wrong. There's absolutely nothing really you can do about it. You can move to another job, and it's like, you don't like it here, to move to another job. You move to another job, and it's the same situation. It's like old boss the same as the new boss. It's like moving from one plantation to another. You're still a slave. You still don't have no say in anything. The democracy doesn't really matter at all. It's not like the damn government is checking these corporations, actually freaking, keeping them in line.
Extreme anger towards the Eric Adams. I have Eric Adams derangement syndrome. Yeah, I don't focus on the Marjorie Taylor Greene. They don't govern me. I'm governed by Emmanuel Cleaver, Quentin Lucas, black leaders in Kansas City here. Quentin Lucas sold out our community to real estate developers and landlords. And now the cost of living is higher than ever. There's been a black exodus from the city because black people can't afford housing. We are 13% of the population, 40% of the homeless population.
What the hell, man? I've been having this problem. I'm gonna get some kind of Wi-Fi booster
because we got the black mayors all over the country, Jimmy. All the largest city, black mayors in charge of, but they're increasing police funding while leaving millions on the streets. They are literally invested in our oppressors. They are siding with real estate development companies, and they are people governing and destroying our cities. Marjorie Taylor Greene governs a red state. That she governs a bunch of rednecks. She don't govern us. It's these black mayors. It's these black politicians that destroy our community. So that's.
And it's the bait and switch that goes on because, like I say, the media wants you fighting against each other, and you're like really mad at the MAGA people. You're really mad at Marjorie Taylor Greene or, whatever names. And meanwhile, the ones that's really screwing over you are the names that you don't never get uttered. And it's like I say, local elections really matter. So like you vote for this guy just because he's a black guy, but meanwhile he's screwing over you, and those are the ones that you really need to be focusing on. So like, let's say you're on the left, and so the ones that pretend to be progressive, the ones that pretend to be looking out for working class people, those are the ones you need to be on their ass. Those are the ones that you need to get the hell out of there when you're looking at the voting. You know what I'm saying? Focusing on Marjorie Taylor Greene is not going to make any difference, and that's what they want. They want you to focus on that some person that's, representing some district in the middle of nowhere that isn't going to have any impact on you locally, and being all angry about that instead of being angry about the people that's actually legislating locally on you. So like they always talk about these democratic cities of being the worst. They're the worst on crime and worst situations or whatever. But this is all by design. This is not because they're Democrats. It's because that's what the status quo wants. These certain cities, like we talking about Detroit, or we talk about Chicago, and it's like you think about it goes back to the corporations and what happened with that, and just moving the jobs overseas, and not providing opportunities for these people. And then you have the black people, whatever, the Democrats that come in there and they're supposed to be fixing things, but they're not, and then their hands are tied to a certain extent too. Not to give them a break, because I'm not giving them a break, but economics is what we should be talking about, not these freaking culture wars related to who's using which bathroom or whatever. Some bullshit. We all have to go to the grocery store, whether we are straight, gay, transgender, We all got to go to the grocery store and look at the damn prices. I went to the store just the other day. I didn't get hardly anything in my damn basket. I got one of those little baskets, not the big one. It wasn't even half filled. It was like quarter filled with like two things on the bottom. The two things on the bottom was water bottles, and it was over $200. And I was like, I really was surprised. I ain't gonna lie. When they were swiping, and it's crazy. I know that the prices have been going up, and I've been feeling this for a while now. But still, it was just the other day. I went to the grocery store, and once they got through swiping everything, it was over $200, and I was like, damn. We all are dealing with this.
Who I have my focus. That's who I have my eye on. I have my eye on Quentin Lucas in the Black Congressional Caucus that continue to lead us off the hill, lead us off a mountain. So that's where my anger comes from. And MLK Day always try to remind people that he would not be on your side. He would look at the Jim Clyburns and these black oligarchs who funding war with disdain.
Well said. You're right. And that you're going to get, so I keep my attention on the pretend lefties in the Democratic Party, because I think they do more damage, because it makes people think that they have someone fighting for them. And if they understood that everybody in government isn't their friend and you need to organize against them, that would happen quicker. But because people see the AOCs and the Jamal Bowmans and the Cori Bushes, they think that these people are fighting for them because they look like them. They're not. This is called identity politics. Barack Obama was the perfect person to example of that. He was a black guy and he got into office and he ruled for the white elite Wall Street class. That's what Barack Obama, so that's what we're stuck with. We're stuck with identity politics. And you know, the joke I do in my act is if it was 1860, the Democrats would not be fixing slavery. They'd be bragging about their first transgendered slave owner.
The neoliberals and the tokenism, like, okay, yeah, we can't really fix slavery. It's kind of we're gonna push on the margins with this. So we should be happy that there's a transgender black slave owner that's being nice to their slaves. So like that's a victory. Yay.
And that's what Barack Obama is. That's what we're left with today, as Joe Biden won't give us a living wage, won't give us health care, that won't bankrupt us. Joe Biden won't do a fucking thing for us. He won't negotiate nothing. He's cutting Medicare. He's screwing over us. And anyway, that's what I also think of all that stuff.
There was a poll, Jimmy, on your point. This is what drives us crazy at Revolutionary Blackout, how liberals weaponize identity politics. There was a poll when Black Americans said they want structural change. They're not really worried about this virtue signaling language. Like literally what they said. But most Americans, we ask white Americans, Asian Americans, Latino Americans, for some reason they think in order to solve racism, you got to have these literally virtue signaling events. You got to have George Floyd Day. They think doing stuff like that solve racial problems. But black people, we're asking for, we need to solve structural problems, like the homeless issue, like the fact that we are underpaid, the fact that we live in a prison industrial complex system. These are the issues that we're focused on. But the ruling class wants to focus on trivial, nonsense culture wars, representation that does not address the material needs of the people that have been victimized under the system. But we want to focus on that and build the white working class, the poor black working class, indigenous, Latino people to overthrow these capitalists that is harming all our lives.
Everybody, we're doing live stand-up
all of our lives. I love the last little bit. Let me see. Can I play that again? This last little bit that he said. Is it going to let me do this? Because my thing is going slow as hell.
Nonsense culture wars, representation that does not address the material needs of the people that have been victimized under the system. But so we don't address
what's actually going on. We just focus on the culture wars. We give them tokenism, little appearances of things that's better, and then but see that's what the elite, that's what the the status quo wants. It's like, okay, we're not gonna like reparations. We can't really give them reparations. We don't want to do that. But hey, we'll make a MLK statue. You know, we'll spend a whole bunch of money on it too. You know, that should make them feel better.
I want to focus on that and build the white working class, the poor, black working class, indigenous, Latino people to overthrow these capitalists that is harming all our lives.
Everybody, we're doing live stand-up comedy.
All of our lives.
Suspending reinvestment in the thrift savings.
The views